Thanks, Matty. Timing perfect. Both teams out on the pitch and ready for this one. A pre-Christmas Day feast. We hope. It is a fixture that has provided plenty of goals in the past. Pools have actually scored 12 goals in the last 3 games against Wealdstone. A 3-1 win, a 7-2 victory and a 2-1 win earlier this season. How much they would love to repeat some of those scorelines here in West London this afternoon, but it won't be easy. Wealdstone have won the last 3, just 1 defeat here at home all season as well. That came back in August against Dagenham and Redbridge, so they are very much in a hot vein of form at home. Hartlepool United, on the other hand, 1 win in their last 8 in the National League. They currently sit 15th. Wealdstone 13th, 2 places and 2 points above Pools. And John Askey and his players certainly could do with a win to just stop any nervous glances over the shoulder at what lays beneath them at the bottom end of the National League table. Delighted to say alongside me is the Hartlepool males, Joe Ramage. Joe, always a pleasure to have you with us. Pools really do need a win just to lift some spirits, don't they?
Yeah, they do. I mean, we say that almost every other week, don't we? That we're away from home, but you're touching on it there. They're nervously close to the bottom 4, aren't they, after last week? I know it was an improved performance. John Askey highlighted the commitment, the effort and things like that, which is right to do so, but ultimately it was another defeat, and like you say, they are starting to look over the shoulder.
Team news then as we're underway. The ball at the feet of Joe Dixon. He looks long for Manny Dizaruwe, flicks the header on. Joe Gray tries to chase, but it's cleared. So let me run you through the teams then. 1 change, Joe Mattock misses out through a hamstring injury. He's replaced by Zach Johnson at the back. So Pools line up like this. Joe Dixon in goal, the back 3 of Manny Onarise, Kieran Brennan and Zach Johnson. The wing backs of Hasty and captain David Ferguson. The midfield 3 of Kieran Wallace, Nicky Featherstone and Callum Cook, with Dizaruwe and Gray, the 2 up front. David Ferguson in possession. Wide left-hand side, finds Cook on the 18-yard line. Wallace back to Cook, left-hand side of play. Looks to deliver into the area and does. It's just away from Joe Gray. Cleared only as far as Brennan. Nicky Featherstone circling away from his markers as Pools keep possession. Pools in the navy and teal vertical stripes. A nice little pass into the penalty area for Dizaruwe. Now Featherstone. This is good build-up play from Pools. Featherstone once more tries to curl it round the goalkeeper and curls it round the left-hand post as well. Out of play. It's still Wealdstone 0, Hartlepool United 0. A minute in, but Pools look to be finding their rhythm early on.
Yeah, it was a nice build-up. They quickly spread it out right to the left, something that Chesterfield stopped a little bit last week. There was very few crosses really, which has been their strength, but yeah, worked it out well to Ferguson and came back into Featherstone. I just wondered whether he could have hit that first time when Gray teed it up to him, but decent start.
And Nicky Featherstone has scored every time he's played against Wealdstone. I have to caveat that with saying he's only played against them twice, but he has scored against them in both of those games. This is just the 4th meeting between the 2 sides. Pools have won all 3 of those games, as Wealdstone on the attack this time in the blue shirts with the white collar, the white shorts and the white socks. Down this right-hand side with Ilunga, trying to make inroads past David Ferguson. His cross is blocked and rebounds out for a throw-in. So 2 minutes in, Wealdstone 0, Hartlepool United 0. On your DAB digital radio and online via the BBC Football website. The last game before Christmas. And Pools looking to provide the presents and a few crackers as well. That's the last Christmas pun of the afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, as we await this Pools throw-in. This Wealdstone throw-in, and it's going to be launched into the penalty area, right up to the front post, headed out by Dizaruwe. Back into the area it goes. Dizaruwe's header is not cleared, and it falls to a Wealdstone man who fires home. And it's Sean Darkwa who makes no mistake. And Hartlepool United find themselves behind inside 3 minutes. Again, it was a throw-in that wasn't dealt with properly. Pools just couldn't clear their lines. A defensive header from Dizaruwe that went back towards his own goal. It landed at the feet of Adakwa, who volleyed in from close range. Nothing Joe Dixon could do about that. Wealdstone 1, Hartlepool United 0.
Yeah, I mean, so poor again. Another set piece, long throw came in. I think it was on Arise who got the initial clearance. Wind held it up a little bit, but then they just don't clear the lines. And then I think, I'm not sure who it was a Kretschmar who came in with it. Almost unmarked when it came back in. And Dixon, like you say, couldn't do anything about it. So sloppy. I mean, who was picking them up?
That is the question, as Joe Gray looks to make an immediate reply at the byline. Floats one into the area, just gets a half block on that, and out for a throw-in to Pools. But that is the ideal start for the home side, who've only lost here once this season. Pools with a throw-in, parallel with the Wealdstone box. It goes back to Featherstone. Now Kieran Brennan is gesturing for the throw-in, but in fact it goes the other way. So it is a Wealdstone throw midway inside their own half.
No, so frustrating that as well. It's similar to the last couple of games.
Well, I was about to say, the amount of early goals that Pools have conceded in recent weeks is quite something. And Adakwa looking to make things worse for Wealdstone. A curling effort that's saved down low by Joel Dixon. It was a good shot. It was Brooklyn Alunga, I think, who made the effort. In fact, well, there's a number 12 on the pitch who isn't on the team sheet, so that's really helpful. But it was the number 12 who had the shot. Corner to Wealdstone as the wind starts to pick up again around Grosvenor. Alarakia to deliver this corner, the first one of the afternoon. Into the front post, flicked on and flicked goalwards, but just over the crossbar of Joel Dixon. And Hartlepool United just look so disjointed and shaky at the back.
It's set pieces again. You know, I touched on it there before. They went to the corner. Early goals in both of them these last couple of weeks have been from set pieces, and even the one in the FA Trophy came from a free kick, didn't it? Chesterfield last week was the first corner. That a long throw in on the edge of the box. They just can't deal with it, and it's something that it's got to be a mentality thing now as well as an ability thing.
Ball launched forward to Adakwa. Good build-up play once again. Abiro looking for the pass into the penalty area. Adakwa's shot is blocked and crowded out by Honoris as it deflects behind for another corner to the home side. So big save from Joel Dixon, denying Wealdstone a second. And here's a second corner in quick succession. An in-swinger, but doesn't even beat Nicky Featherstone on the byline. Joe Gray's dispossessed, and the ball back with Ashley Charles inside the Wealdstone half. And after what was a bright opening, 1 or 2 minutes, some nice build-up play and an early shot from Nicky Featherstone, the game has quickly swung in favour of Wealdstone.
And that's what I mean, it's so easy to get in front against this Hartlepool team at the minute. It doesn't matter if they start the game well, if they don't. It's almost a case of the first time they come under any sort of pressure that they're wilting at the minute, and like I say, that's got to be a mentality thing as much as anything.
As Pools look to build from the back, as Wallace finds Brennan stretching his legs wide on that right hand side, across the halfway line, still going is Brennan. He's ran almost the length of the pitch and then plays a through ball that just has too much on it towards Jake Hastie, and out for a goal kick. And you could see Hastie's frustration there as he turned on his heels and just gestured to Brennan. He wanted it, just felt more into his feet. There's a bit too much power on that from Brennan, and the chance goes begging. So Wealdstone 1, Hartlepool United 0. 8 minutes in on BBC Radio T Sport and your DAB digital radio, online via the BBC Football website as well. However you're listening to us, thanks for being with us. Unfortunately, Pools will have to do this the hard way, but that is no surprise, as Brennan looks to just brush past his man. A pass into the centre of the field for Desiree. Back to goal. on the halfway line. Now Hastie finds Wallace. Pools just trying to quicken the pace a little bit here, and then Wallace fires the ball out for a throw-in to the home side. But just going back to that goal, Joe, as the ball's out of play, that chance on goal coming just from an aimless throw-in, really.
Yeah, just a long throw. Like I say, it was cleared. I think it was on a reset and it got held up in the wind. But then when it comes back in, it's almost as though the defenders don't know who they're meant to be picking up, or the second phase of those set plays once they're coming out. It was the same with Chesterfield last week. I think Deasuri won the first contact from the corner, came out and the man was unmarked on the edge of the box and fired in. It was very similar to that, got looped back in, and then he's unmarked in the almost 6-yard box and puts it in easily.
Pulls in possession just beyond the halfway line. Right down in front of us is Nicky Featherstone, finds Cook. Looks to combine with David Ferguson, who just gets the ball taken off his toes, cleared up to the halfway line. Zach Johnson collects it once more. Now Wallace looking to find a way down that left towards Ferguson, who keeps hold of it. Goes back to Nicky Featherstone. The ball just takes a touch off a Wealdstone defender. Goes out towards the byline. Cook is calling for it, and it's a throw to Pools. Captain Jack Cook just putting his body between man and ball there. There's a deep cross into the penalty area, comes in, flicked away. Abiro holding the ball up on the edge of his own penalty area. Needs a bit of help as he's in danger of being crowded out, but does well to find an out ball over to the left-hand side towards Alarakia, but Pools are able to regain possession. Zach Johnson at the base of the centre circle. Now Ferguson, the Pools captain, looking to lead by example as he drifts infield. Finds Featherstone, the former Pools captain. Wallace now to Brennan once more, who's been involved a fair bit already in this game. Deep cross from Hastie towards Dizaruwe, but he was outnumbered, and Ferguson does well to just regain possession for John Askey's men. 10 minutes in, Pools trailing by a goal to nil at Wealdstone in the National League, and Joe Gray battling with his man on the byline as the ball goes out for a goal kick, and Dizaruwe just making the gesture there to his teammate in Kieran Brennan about exactly how and where he wants the ball, Joe. They haven't really been able to find him yet.
No, it's been sluggish since the goal, hasn't it? It's interesting to look at the body language now, who's kind of taking the responsibility to try and pick them up and drag them out of this, and at the minute there hasn't really been much of that. First signs of frustration there from Deasuri as the ball's not come into them, and they need to get grip of this soon, because I mean it could have been 2-0 soon after the goal. Dixon with a good save, but they cannot let this game get away from them.
Yeah, it was a good save from Joe Dixon. He might be called into action yet again as Wealdstone threatened to break on the edge of the area, but good defensive cover from Ferguson. Dizaruwe opens play up for Joe Gray, who crosses the halfway line. He's got Hastie to his right on the overlap, and he finds him now into his path. Hastie inside the area, chops it back. He's got options there if he needs him, but he's in danger of being crowded out, and is good defensive play by Wealdstone, who are able to get back quickly and in numbers to just smother the opportunities for Joe Gray.
That's the problem with inverted wingers, because they're always trying to cut back in onto either the left side or the right side, depending on which wing they're playing on. And we see it with Hastie, he's very left-footed, isn't he? So every time he's trying to chop back in, and once defenders click onto that, it can sometimes be difficult for them to create any space. And we saw that there, crowded out.
Throw-in taken by Ferguson, gets it back from Wallace. Oh, and Ferguson's giving it away to Adakwa, who's sprinting through, but he's got plenty of Pools players with him. He goes for the shot anyway and still finds the back of the net. Joel Dixon beaten at range by Sean Adakwa. It was Captain David Ferguson who gave the ball away. The space opened up for Adakwa. He still had a lot to do. Question marks over whether Dixon should have done better there. Down away to his left-hand side in the same corner he saved a few moments ago. But Wealdstone double their lead. We're only 12 minutes in.
That is so poor. It came from Ferguson giving the ball away cheaply. There was no need for him to give it away there. And then Adak was just allowed to run from the halfway line unchallenged. There was 4 or 5 defenders there just backing off. And Joel Dixon's position in there has to be brought into question. Yeah. He's just almost side-footed that into the corner. There wasn't a lot of pace on that. That is so poor. So poor.
It was all too easy in so many ways, wasn't it? I mean, unchallenged, just allowed to run through on goal. there was plenty of bodies back to deal with it, but just nobody went to the man.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then also, like you say, and quite rightly so, the positioning of Joe Dixon, it was too easy. He passed it into the back of the net from range as Desirue fights for it on the edge of the area. Joe Gray twisting and turning on the edge of the box. Hasty overruns it. And Wealdstone look to break again. This could be a cricket score present. Wealdstone with a B-roll. Looks to chip the ball into the path of Alaraki, who keeps it in on the touchline. Running at his man, which is Brennan. Goes past him at the byline and runs the ball out of play. And it's a goal kick. Let's go over to Ray Simpson in the National League North. He's watching Darlington against Bishop Stortford. Ray.
12 minutes gone. It's Darlington 0, Bishop Stortford 1, and Bishop Stortford surprising the home side by taking the lead on 9 minutes. Just a long, hopeful ball forward, dropped behind the Darlington defence. Everybody seemed to hesitate, but Ryan Charles didn't. For the visitors, he ran on and he lobbed Tommy Taylor to put the visitors in front. Quakers not really been up the visitors' end yet. It's Darlington 0, Bishop Stortford 1.
Thank you, Ray Simpson. So Darlington trailing in the National League North. We'll keep you across Spennymoor as well at Hereford. But here in the National League, Wealdstone 2, Hartlepool United 0. And it has been grim so far. So many questions about this team defensively. As Manny Onarise just heads the ball straight into the turf there. But Pools trying to play out from the back. Joel Dixon goes long, looking for Desirue. Flicks on the header towards Joe Gray, who controls it well on his chest. Back to Desirue. Tries a 1-2 with Gray. Drifts out to the right-hand side. On his little back heels open space up for Hasty, who looks to drive into the box with purpose. But again, he runs into a dead end. And the blue shirts of Wealdstone are able to pick up possession.
I said it before about looking at the body language, who's going to take responsibility, and at the minute not one of them has taken any responsibility. That goal there, like there was 4 of them I think tracking back, and none of them came out to confront Adakwa, and he's just allowed a side foot it into the corner. Honestly, that is as bad as it gets. That.
Cook in possession for Pools midway inside the Wealdstone half. Featherstone asking for an option on the ball. Cook tries to find Ferguson down at the touchline and does, but the cross is delivered straight in the grasp of Marcus Dewhurst in the Wealdstone goal away to our left-hand side. So Pools kicking from right to left in this first half. There is a fair showing of Hartlepool United supporters away to our right. I suspect many of them are, at the minute, wishing they hadn't bothered, Joe. Because there hasn't been an awful lot to shout about.
It's a long old trip to make at this time of the year as well, and you almost wish you could leave after 15 minutes the way this has gone.
Throw into Pools on the halfway line. Zach Johnson gets it back from Cook. Johnson to Featherstone, a heavy touch, but he manages to keep hold of it. Space opens up a little bit for Kieran Wallace at the base of the centre circle. Out to the right hand side for Hasty, who is always positive when he gets the ball, but just that end product at the minute which seems to be lacking. Featherstone in the centre of the pitch. Switches it out to this near side now. Ferguson stops the ball dead, tries to twist and jink his way past his man. He combines with Cook once more, but it's a misplaced pass, and Wealdstone clear up to the halfway line. Kieran Brennan intercepts. Tidy work from him to keep hold of that. And the Sunderland loanee Zach Johnson combining with the Sheffield Wednesday loanee and Kieran Brennan at the base of the Pools defence. Now Wallace lifts his head up. Pools are having plenty of possession, but as of yet haven't tested Dewhurst in the Wealdstone goal. But you get the impression that Wealdstone are happy for Pools to have it and try and catch them on the counter. Kieran Brennan, curling effort inside the area, headed up but not out. Desirue is going to fight for it. The goalkeeper comes out and punches it away. Flicked on header from Cook. Ferguson with the ball at his feet. Now Featherstone, infield to Cook, 25 yards out. Wallace out to the left once more for Ferguson. A low cross into the area, cleared by Cook. Obiro for Wealdstone. Working well in close quarters, Wealdstone. But Pools have it back with Wallace fighting for it right down in front of us. And the ball out for a Wealdstone throw. Well, approaching the 20-minute mark, Joe, what's your reading so far?
After the first couple of minutes, it was a nice build-up, you know, quite lively. But then, as soon as the goal's conceded, we've seen the heads go down here for me. In recent weeks where they've conceded, that hasn't been the case. They've certainly last week, for example, they came out and gave a good account of themselves in the first half against Chesterfield, but they've buckled a little bit here for me. And yeah, this feels like a long way back, even at this early stage. And
9 minutes between the two goals as well.
Just that it's the standard of them as well.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Not picking up the second phase of the set play from the throw-in, and then just allowing the Darkwood to run from halfway to the edge of the box unchallenged. You just can't do that. You can't do that at any level.
Cook in the centre circle looks to try and feed the ball through to Desirue. A little flick with the outside of his heel means the ball is intercepted by Alarakia. Rolls his studs across the top of the ball. Looks to try and combine with the Darkwa. And Kieran Brennan's been caught in possession here. Alarakia having a go at him round the outside, but cleared by Pools. And given away by Wealdstone. Featherstone now to Cook through the centre of the pitch as he tries to get away from Jack Cook, who, as a centre-back and the captain of the team, has 4 goals in his last 4 games. That's not bad for a centre-back, is it?
Cheaply given away again there.
It is. Wallace fighting for it and comes out on top. And that exchange, he finds Gray. Desirue calling for it, but the pass wasn't of the quality needed to find Hartlepool United's top goal scorer this season. So Wealdstone have it back inside their own half and play themselves out of danger. Very tidy indeed, but the space for Cook to run out of defence. And now David Ferguson looks to clear, but it's rebounded kindly at the byline and just runs out of play for a goal kick in the end. But Wealdstone just been invited to run onto Pools.
You just talked about Cook there. He's ran from the right centre-back position almost to the edge of Hartlepool's own penalty area, unchallenged again.
Well, Zach Johnson is down and in need of some treatment right on the byline, which might just give Pools an opportunity to, well, either gather themselves, shake the cobwebs off.
They need to do something, because it's just not been acceptable, to be honest. Beyond that first 2 minutes where they knocked it around quite nicely, since the goal's gone in, it's been so bad.
And you can see Manny Desirue in conversation with Kieran Wallace. There's David Ferguson going across as well to the Pools bench. But Zach Johnson, well, if the afternoon wasn't bad enough, Danny O'Connor, the Pools physio, has just made the signal that Zach Johnson will need to be brought off here. It looks to be an issue with his right knee. We are some distance away from it, so it's tricky to tell, but it looks to be his right knee. So Johnson is another one to add to the injury list alongside Joe Mattock, who is missing through a hamstring problem. When your afternoon's going bad and then something like that happens, your luck really is out, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, injuries have been a problem all season. You know, Joe Mattock, he's missing this afternoon as well. And then to lose another defender, that has been something that's happened all season. But at some point again, you've got to try and get on with that. Players have got to take responsibility and try and take opportunities well. And that hasn't happened. It hasn't happened today, and it hasn't happened all season.
Well, if you're John Askey, what do you do now? Because you've got Kieran Burton, Brodie Patterson, Mitch Hancox as well. And the answer is, it's going to be Brodie Patterson. So I suspect that's going to be David Ferguson dropping in to the back 3, and Brodie Patterson coming out to this near side as the left wing back.
Yeah, strange one, because we've seen David Ferguson drop in as that third centre back a few times over the course of the last 12 months or so. It hasn't been necessarily a position that has complimented him too much, especially when you've got Kieran Burton on the bench there as well. But at the same time, a young lad, do you throw him into a situation like what is sort of evolving here? Strange one.
Wealdstone in possession, and look comfortable in possession as well. You can tell they've got so much confidence playing at home. One defeat all season as Darkwa does well to keep the ball in. He's fighting with Onarise by the corner flag. Onarise trying to use his strength to win possession back, but it goes the way of Wealdstone, and it's a corner, which is they're trying to take quickly, Wealdstone, but instead they're going to take the time with it. Two stood over the ball from the corner flag. There is a mass of bodies at the back post. The corner comes in and is headed behind again by David Ferguson. Fourth corner of the game for Wealdstone.
Key moments as well, because if it goes 3-0, you can almost think that would be game over even at this stage of the game.
Yeah. As we await the corner to be whipped in left-footed, the bodies break to the front post. Jack Cook is unmarked completely there, but Joel Dixon is able to collect it, and then he bowls it out overarm across the halfway line to find Hasty. That was a really good ball from Dixon. Hasty goes back to Wallace on the halfway line. Now to Brennan. Got the touchline to his right-hand side. Hasty trying to keep hold of it. Wallace comes across to help his teammate out, and the ball out of play for a throw-in. Wealdstone 2, Hartlepool United 0. 25 minutes in on BBC Radio T Sport, on your DAB digital radio, and on the BBC Football website. The first goal coming after just 3 minutes. A poor clearance from inside the area that wasn't dealt with. And then Max Korechma on the volley from close range. Nothing Joel Dixon could do about that one, but certainly the second goal, which came 9 minutes later, Dixon will certainly be asking if he could have done better there. As Desirue picks up the ball on the byline, cuts it back to Hasty. It just bobbles up and away from him. And now Wealdstone look to counter. Down the left-hand side with Alarakia. Stops the ball dead, goes infield now for Bowen. On loan from Newport County. Cook controls the ball on the chest as they encroach over the halfway line. Now Ashley Charles playing as one of two defensive midfielders for Wealdstone this afternoon, and he's forced all the way back to his goalkeeper Marcus Dewhurst because of the watchful eye of Nicky Featherstone.
Yeah, at least that was the first time we've seen someone go and confront them. They've just been standing off and allowing them to advance. At least that was something, but 2-0 down.
Well, Joe Gray there went to apply the press, and there was absolutely nobody behind him, and he turned around expecting, I think, to see another one or two Hartlepool United shirts. There wasn't any, and you could see him just almost like wave his arms forward as if to say, where is everyone? And forward come Wealdstone once more. Shot from distance that goes to the right-hand post of Joel Dixon. And once again, Mika Obiero asking questions of the Pool's defence, and almost asking more questions of Joel Dixon and the Pool's goal. Still Wealdstone 2, Pools 0. Pools just look petrified whenever anybody's running at them with any real pace or purpose.
They look devoid of confidence, ideas. They're out of sync with one another. It's disjointed. Everything about this since the goal, there's alarm bells ringing.
Yeah, it's almost like they're resigned to it. Oh, there's a ball inside the area for Adakwa to make it 3, and he does. One ball, split the defence. Adakwa finds his way in and finds his way past Dixon to make it 3-0 within half an hour. Hartlepool United have completely crumbled. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 0, and this really is a poor showing.
We've been talking about it since the goal. They're standing off, there's nobody confronting them, I think it was Abiro there who was just allowed to do it again. He just curls the ball in behind the defence, Adakwa off the shoulder, in one-on-one, and he finishes. It's just that simple. It is that simple. And they're all over the place here, and the heads have gone. The heads have totally gone. This is all kinds of bad.
And it was just one ball.
Yeah.
It was just one ball from the right-hand side, curled into the path of Adakwa, who had time to control it, set himself, and fire it in to the back of the net. There's a lot of poolies who have spent some hard-earned money to make the journey here this afternoon. Oh, and as we say that, Brodie Patterson just about keeps it in. He finds Cook. Now Wallace. Well, this is shows what you're made of type situation now, isn't it? For Pools. Can they... Well, will they sink or will they swim? At the minute, they've got concrete around them. And they're dropping like a stone. Wealdstone in possession. Desirue trying to press from the front. Oh, and almost a mistake by Ashley Charles that would have opened up space for Joe Gray 20 yards out, but he just about sets himself in time. A through ball into the Pools half of play, which Joel Dixon will meet by the corner flag, and boom, clear. Hasty with a flicked on header, doesn't reach Desirue though, who tried to read what the Wealdstone defender was going to do, but instead Mason Barrett keeps hold of it and goes back to his goalkeeper in Marcus Dewhurst, who kept a clean sheet against Dagenham and Redbridge last time out in the National League. 22 years of age, started his last 4 games now. And Wealdstone, very much a team that are climbing the table, while Pools are one that are slipping down it. Worth pointing out as well that Wealdstone are still a semi-professional football club, as the referee just indicates exactly where he wants Brodie Patterson to take this throw. Patterson in towards Cook. Looks to find Patterson again, but the pass is poor from Cook and gives it away to Wealdstone, who clear. And it's again one ball long that is in danger of catching them out here. Abiro has out-muscled Brennan. Abiro tries to curl one. Joel Dixon drops it and manages to get it at the second attempt. But this is all too easy. And I'm really not trying to overstate the fact or whatever, but it is stark, isn't it? I mean, it is as plain as the nose on your face, Joe.
I mean, that's just a simple ball over the top. It's just putting pressure on a defender where it should be getting dealt with. He's allowed the ball to bounce, and then he's under pressure, and yeah, it's just everything about this is just all too easy for Wealdstone at the minute.
But even in the jostling for possession, you know, it doesn't take an awful lot to brush a Pools man off the ball.
I mean, you see it there.
Yeah.
There's a ball gone into Cook, and Cook on the Wealdstone side, he's closed that down straight away. Whereas when Wealdstone are in possession, Hartlepool are standing off.
Hasty, can he inject a little bit of life into this Pools display? And he wins a throw-in for his efforts. He had 2 blue shirts in front of him. So Pools with the throw-in parallel to the Wealdstone penalty area. And at the break, we'll have a full roundup of all the half-time scores with Matty Nixon. Get update as well from Ray Simpson, who's watching Darlington in the National League North this afternoon, as well as Spennymoor. Your featured commentary, this ball drops out of play for a throw-in by the Wealdstone corner flag. Your feature commentary on 95 FM is Middlesbrough in their game this afternoon against West Brom in the Championship. Oh, Cook finds Desirue on the 18-yard line, gets hacked down, and that is a free kick. As much as the home fans are saying he got the ball, he didn't. We had a very good view of it, and it was very clearly a free kick. And Desirue thankfully picks himself up.
That was what I was keeping my eye on, Manny going down there. That would just top things off, to be honest, wouldn't it? But it looks as though he's okay.
Yeah. I can't afford for him to be injured. Well, this is 19 yards, sorry, I beg your pardon, 19 yards out.
It's one of those that looks as though it'd be difficult to get up and over and then back down again. It looks as though it might be a little bit too close, but we'll see.
Well, as you say that, Callum Cook just resettles the ball, and he'd moved it back about half a yard. The referee's just asked him to put it back where he asked him to. So Cook against a 6-man Wealdstone wall. Cook with a short run up over the wall and over the crossbar. He buries his face in his hands as John Askey in the Pools dugout turns on his heels and takes a seat. It remains Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 0. 10 minutes to go till half time.
Yeah, it did feel as though that was probably a little bit too close to try and do that. You maybe have to power those ones. Not that I'm an expert in that, but I mean, is that just the second attempt that they've had a goal since that first minute when Featherstone curled wide?
Yeah.
You know.
Thank to Roy who's texted me, and he's very optimistic, is Roy. He's texted me saying Wealdstone will tire. Just ever the optimist. Roy, I like to hear it.
Yeah, I'd like some of that optimism myself, I think.
Wealdstone in possession inside their own half. Manny Desirue and Callum Cook, the highest of the Pools players. A long ball from Marcus Dewhurst, the goalkeeper, trying to find a Biro who's been at the heart of anything that has been positive from Wealdstone. Manny Desirue in on the challenge and gets caught again, this time by Barrett. And it is going to be a free kick for Pools. Or is it? No, in fact, they've given offside in the end. Manny Desirue is not best pleased with that decision, as Luton have taken the lead against Newcastle in the Premier League. And it's Tottenham 2, Everton 0. And the other scores here: Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 0. And Cook for Wealdstone on this near side. Infield now to Charles, who gets it back. And there's just no desire, apart from Manny Desirue, who is trying to apply a little bit of pressure. Apart from him and occasionally Joe Gray,
yeah, the front three are doing little bits, but there's nothing then in behind.
Yeah,
you saw from Callum Cook there, he came out almost doing the job of two people's pressing. You can just see the frustration etched all over the faces.
Cook into Featherstone. It's the cries of man on as he finds Ferguson. Ferguson lifts his head, looks to curl one in, but it's poor. It doesn't even beat the first man. Abiro comes out on top, and Jack Cook completes the clearance for Wealdstone on a reset. Just about clears his lines. A loose pass from Cook. Again, almost opens up space for Alarakia to run in, but Pools get it back. Featherstone clips one into the path of Brodie Patterson, but it skips up off the turf and out for a throw-in to the home side, away to our left, deep inside their own half of play. 37 minutes on the clock. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 0. Well, the throw-in comes. Ferguson wins it. Featherstone fighting for it. Wallace in there as well. Pools trying to hunt in numbers to get the ball back, and they do, with Hasty on the halfway line. Lifts his head, just adjusts his footing slightly. Back to Kieran Brennan, who switches the play. Brodie Patterson does well to keep it in. Cook controls it on his chest. Desirue is on the 18-yard line. Collects it now, tries to turn inside the area at the byline. The shot is crowded out. It rebounds wildly inside the box, and Jack Cook completes the clearance into the Pools half of play. Was almost a good chance. Desirue just couldn't pull the trigger quick enough, could he?
Yeah, it was nicely into the feet of him, and then he turns his man, but like you say, he couldn't get the shot away. They need to do that more. It needs to be more into the feet of him. Like there, it was kind of, there's been a lot of aimless balls over the top. Needs to be a little bit more into the feet.
Ashley Charles in possession for Wealdstone inside the centre circle, out to the left-hand side now. Looking for Mundell Smith. Oh, Joe Gray does well to win it and then draws the foul and wins the free kick just in front of the halfway line. Over on the far side in front of the two dugouts. John Askey with his hands thrust deep in his pockets, watching on, pointing the way forward, barking out some instructions from the technical area.
Yeah, penny for his thoughts at the minute.
Well, you read my mind.
But it feels quiet as well, and I'm not talking about the crowd like on the pitch.
Yeah.
Again, I've said it a couple of times now. I mean.
Oh, and that free kick from Kieran Brennan goes straight to Sean Darkwa. Pools managed to get it back second time of asking. Brennan again looking for the long ball in towards the area. In fact, it comes all the way through to Brodie Patterson on this near side at the byline. And his cross is blocked rather tamely. But Cook wins it back. This is better. Featherstone into Desirue, and as I say, that Desirue gives the ball away to Sam Bowen. And Onarise just collects it inside his half of play. The Pools defender. Brodie Patterson has given the ball away to Adakwa inside the Pools half of play. Tries to feed it through to Obiro, but it ends up in the arms of Joel Dixon. There's been a goal between Middlesbrough and West Brom in the Championship. Borough leading West Brom now by 1-0 at the Riverside. Full match commentary of that one on 95 FM with Mark Drury and Neil Maddison. Morgan Rogers with the goal there that separates the two sides. David Ferguson with a through ball looking for Cook. A sliding challenge from the other Cook, Jack Cook, just takes it away from him, and the home side are able to clear and now build an attack of their own through Bowen just beyond the halfway line. Back to Charles. Wolves studs across the top of the ball. Less than 5 minutes to go till half time. Wealdstone 3, Pools 0. Alarakia now running in from the left hand side. Finds Bowen once more. Mundell Smith wins the throw in for the home side midway inside the Pools half of play. A reminder that Matty Nixon will bring you a full roundup of all the half-time scores at the break. The referee Gareth Rhodes is being very particular over where Wealdstone take this throw-in from.
Same sort of area on the opposite side from where the first goal came from, though, with the long throw coming in.
It is. You're very right. And it's Brooklyn Nalunga with the long throw, arching into the penalty area. Headed away. The volley comes in by Bowen. It's blocked. Was it blocked by a Pools hand? The referee says no. And instead, it's a goal kick.
It was that second phase again, though, Rob.
Yeah.
You know, they won the first ball, and then it comes to someone who's unmarked on the edge of the area.
How do Hartlepool United turn this around is the question. That's the $1 million question, isn't it? Because it
just doesn't look like it, does it?
No.
I mean, they've enjoyed a little bit of possession these last sort of 5-10 minutes, but you wonder whether that's just Wealdstone stepping off a little bit with being 3-0 up.
Well, it's certainly been comfortable for them, hasn't it? As Alarakia just takes the ball off Jake Hasty with ease there in his half of play. Oh, now the ball is given away to Desirue, edge of the area. He's got Featherstone at the byline, looks to clip one back goalwards for Callum Cook, who scores! And it just about trickles into the back of the net. Callum Cook gets his 4th of the season. It was clipped into the area by Featherstone. And Cook, it looked like he didn't know too much about it, but perhaps just a slither of hope for Hartlepool United as we approach the end of the first half. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 1.
Yeah, well, they needed something, and Wealdstone have given them that. They give possession away cheaply, and then I thought the chance had gone because Diasure overhit the pass really to Featherstone. I think he tried to tee Featherstone up to shoot himself, overhit the pass. Featherstone does well on the byline to stand it up, and Cook just does what you should do in that situation in terms of heading it back across goal, and then it trickles into that far corner. It seemed to take an eternity to wait for the net to go, but the keeper got caught up on what is a pretty boggy 6-yard area, and yeah, they needed something, anything, and if it could maybe give them a little bit of a jolt at half time.
Well, Callum Cook, he seemed to shock himself with that, didn't he? It's almost like he didn't quite get the connection he wanted. He put it back across the goalkeeper. It went into the turf, and just, it's worth pointing out for those of you listening at home, the centre area of the 6-yard box from which Cook scored the header is a sand pit. It's like a children's playpen, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's got so much sand in there. And perhaps just slowing the ball even more as it trickled goalwards. But you're right in your description. It took an age for that net to go, didn't it?
Yeah, it's come at a time that they needed it. Like I say, they can get in at half time. 5 minutes there added on. Hopefully they can get in at half time at minimum at this scoreline, and they can try and regroup.
There's Jake Hasty, just dispossessed. It comes out to Featherstone. Now Joe Gray pulls all of a sudden look interested. Hasty, right hand side of the penalty area, cuts it back to Desirue, lays it off for Joe Gray!
Oh, it's in.
It's in! And Gray gets one back! Another one back! And Hartlepool United have gone from 3-0 down, and it's now 3-2. Across into the penalty area that wasn't dealt with by the home side. And Joe Gray, it was cushioned into his path, and he struck it with real venom past the goalkeeper, who could have done better. Didn't quite get the palm behind it to deflect it. It went into the back of the net, and Pools have yet a further lifeline. 3-2.
I mean, where has that come from? Just you said it, just a little bit of something, a little bit of interest from them with that goal going in. They were quick on the press, got down the right, it came to Diasure, who does really well again there, to be honest, because he could have tried to snapshot out of frustration himself. He doesn't, tease it up to Gray, who has just enough power on to beat the keeper as he pushes it into the corner, and all of a sudden they've got a chance.
Manny Desirue is involved again, causing chaos as Marcus Dewhurst comes out. Pools have a throw-in. Well, we say this fixture is always has plenty of goals. Desirue controls the ball on his chest, but he's offside. There's always plenty of goals in this fixture between these two teams, and it's proving the case yet again. Get an update from Ray Simpson at the break. Thanks to Roy, who's just texted me again saying, "I told you so."
Yeah.
Yes, Roy. I'm sure he'll remind me again if Pools end up turning this completely around as well. We're into stoppage time. 2.5 minutes left to play. As Brodie Patterson tries to play a through ball to Cook, just too much on that. Marcus Dewhurst can complete the clearance. And the offside flag is up for Sean Adakwa. So Pools have a free kick inside their own half. Well, Joe Gray has now levelled his best ever tally for a season. 4 goals. Oh, Manny Desirue wins the header on the edge of the area. It falls to Cook. Tries to find a way through. Wallace gives it to Featherstone. Gets it back. Featherstone inside the area. His shot is crowded out by Wealdstone. Only as far as Ferguson. Takes a ball in his stride. Delivers a good ball into the area. Oh, and the offside flag is up. Oh, it's actually a free kick for some pushing and shoving there by Hartlepool United's Manny Desirue, which just alleviates the pressure on the Wealdstone goal. And I bet John Askey and Pools as a whole, who I imagine when that stoppage time board went up, were probably begging for half-time, and now wishing it was a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I said when the 5 minutes went up, getting in at a minimum of 3-1, and then they've gone and got another one back, and you'd almost be just as frustrated at this as what you are at 3-0, because you think, well, where's this last couple of minutes been? There's an intensity, there's a bit of urgency there. They're shown for each other, the out pressing here. Where has this been for 40 minutes of this game? And, such a strange game.
At times it looked a long way back, but all of a sudden the picture is very different now. It's 3-2, Poole still trailing, but they look to be the team in the ascendancy. And all of a sudden Wealdstone have been looking nervy at the back whenever Pools have managed to deliver balls into the box. Korechma on the halfway line for Wealdstone. Little dink with the outside of his boot, looking for Adakwa down that left-hand side, who manages to get there in front of Kieran Brennan. Twisting, turning, ends up on all fours, resets himself onto his feet. Alarakia stands the ball up, wide left-hand side, running at Hasty, trying to brush past him. Hasty stays with him. Alarakia gets across away, but it's deep and out for a goal kick. Into the final 20 seconds, the 5 minutes of added on time at the end of this first half. And all of a sudden, Pools have a bit of fight about them. When at times it really looked powder puff, didn't it?
Yeah, we've been questioning the body language, the mentality here, but then they've come up and these last 5 or 10 minutes they've shown it again. It's so frustrating, because where is it for a full game?
The half-time whistle goes. At the break, Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 2. Wealdstone were 3-0 up inside 28 minutes and were fully deserving of that lead. Pools with so many mistakes defensively. The first coming after 3 minutes, a poor clearance that fell to Max Korechma inside the area, whose volley at close range rifled past Joel Dixon. Then just 9 minutes later, again Pools just one poor pass back from David Ferguson, gives it away to Sean Adakwa, who was able to just saunter about 20-30 yards into the Pools half uncontested and just side-footed it from distance past Joel Dixon. Some serious question marks over his positioning for that goal. And then the afternoon got even worse for Pools as Abiro, one ball curling from the right-hand side into the path of Sean Adakwa, who was able to control it inside the area, set himself, and again fire past Joel Dixon to make it 3-0. And then all sorts of questions about Pools' lack of fight and belief in possession were turned on its head when on 43 minutes Manny Dizaruwe found Nicky Featherstone at the byline, floated a cross into the penalty area to find Callum Cook at the back post, whose header into the turf trickled painfully past Marcus Dewhurst to give Pools a little bit of hope, and that hope was emboldened just 3 minutes later when Manny Dizaruwe, pressing up the top end of the pitch, won the ball, laid it off to Joe Gray on the edge of the area, who was able to lash it past Marcus Dewhurst in the Wealdstone goal. And at half-time, Pools do have a little bit of hope when at times there was very little. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 2. Joe, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to sum up. For 30-35 minutes, that was the kind of performance that would get a manager a sack, to be perfectly honest. I don't think you can argue otherwise. It was disgraceful. They look as though they'd completely gone under and folded. But then Wealdstone have taken the foot off the gas a little bit. They give Hartlepool a little bit of a helping hand in terms of giving the ball away, but then credit to Hartlepool, they've gone and scored twice in the space of 2 minutes, and out of nowhere they've given themselves a chance in this game. I imagine John Askey will still be furious in there, because for the majority of the half it has not been good enough, and yet they've got an opportunity now to kick on if they can produce some of the stuff that we've seen in recent weeks, in terms of, if you think of the York game and spells of the Kidderminster game and the first half last week, they can kick on and maybe get a result out of this when it seems so unlikely. But yeah, such a frustrating half, because where is it? Where's the consistency? If you can do that for 5 or 10 minutes at the end of a half here or there, why can't you do it across a full half or then a full game? So yeah, I imagine he's very frustrated in there, very angry, but they've got a chance, which is all you could have asked for certainly half an hour ago.
Yeah, it certainly didn't look like there was much of a chance, especially when the third goal went in on 28 minutes. But Pools have turned it around with 2 quick-fire goals at the back end of that half, Matty, to give them at least a fighting chance in the second 45.
Are you scratching your head down there as much as I am up here about what's happened in that first half? Because it literally has sounded chalk and cheese from the opening 42 minutes to then what's happened in that final 5-6 minutes, including stoppage time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were almost writing their obituary, weren't we, at times in that first half, and rightly so, because they were so poor. And the defensive mistakes, you know, the fact that Pools have got 2 goals back, it doesn't change the fact that the goals that they've conceded this afternoon have been so poor from a defensive standpoint for a professional football team. Just one ball that split the defence, back passes that have gone to opposition players and they've scored from, not clearing the lines, in which Wealdstone have scored from as well. But in a game of football, and you'll know this as well, Matty, it only takes one challenge, it only takes one moment for momentum to swing, and that seemed to happen just before Callum Cook got that goal in the build-up to the play. You know, they won a challenge, they got the ball back high up the pitch, and all of a sudden there just looked to be a little bit of endeavour, a little bit of a spring in their step. They scored. Callum Cook almost looked surprised himself when the ball went into the back of the net. It was almost a delayed reaction, a delayed celebration when it eventually did cross the line. And then, again, 3 minutes later, Manny Desirue winning possession high up the pitch, and you could see it was as if somebody just lit the blue touch paper underneath them, and they all of a sudden thought, oh, hang on a minute, we could be in here. And they were, and they scored from that. So I suspect in the dressing room at half-time, you know, they'll be thinking this game is here for us if we can really put them to the sword in the second half. But as with everything, and as with Pools this season, they have to shore up defensively, because otherwise, you know, Wealdstone will get chances in the second half with the way that they throw bodies forward and the way that they attack. So they need to do that in order to make sure that they get anything from this game. And it's always a high-scoring game when these two sides meet. The highest it ever got was when Pools won 7-2 in the promotion-winning season. I'm not by any stretch suggesting we're going to see a scoreline like that, but there's certainly more goals in this one this afternoon.
Well, let's hope for a Pools, eh? That's Rob and Joe. Thank you very much to both of them. They'll head off now and get a half-time cuppa. Rob Law and Joe Ramage of the Hartlepool Mail. But yeah, what a half of football. A crazy one. It was looking so poor for Pools up until about 3 minutes before half-time, and then it's all kind of been pulled back, and let's hope they can make something of it in the second half, eh? Well, I'll have the goals from that first half and the scores from up and down the country for you after this.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast
with Amy Oakton.
Weekday mornings from 6.
What has to feature on your Christmas dinner plate?
A Yorkshire pudding just finishes the day off.
Everybody likes pigs in blankets. Everybody likes stuffing. Have you ever married the two? Stuffing wrapped in bacon.
So get sausage meat and then make little sausage meat patties.
Oh, lovely.
For me, brown sauce.
Brown sauce?
Oh, yes. It covers a multitude of sins.
Mind you, with your pigs in blankets, it's going to go well. I don't know, that might be a game changer. Might try that.
Changed your life.
BBC Radio T's Breakfast
with Amy Oakton.
Weekday mornings from 6.
Proud to follow Hartlepool United.
BBC Radio T's
Sport.
Yes, and half-time down at Wealdstone, and it's been a pretty strange first half. Pools looked all at sea up until 42 minutes in, but they found a route back into it.
Into the penalty area, right up to the front post, headed out by Desirue. Back into the area it goes. Desirue's header is not cleared, and it falls to a Wealdstone man who fires home, and it's Sean Darkwa who makes no mistake, and Hartlepool United find themselves behind inside 3 minutes. Again, it was a throw-in that wasn't dealt with properly. Pools just couldn't clear their lines. A defensive header from Desirue that went back towards his own goal. It landed at the feet of Adakwa, who volleyed in from close range. Nothing Joe Dixon could do about that. Wealdstone 1, Hartlepool United 0. Ferguson's giving it away to Adakwa, who's sprinting through, but he's got plenty of Pools players with him. He goes for the shot anyway and still finds the back of the net. Joel Dixon beaten at range by Sean Adakwa. It was Captain David Ferguson who gave the ball away. The space opened up for Adakwa. He still had a lot to do. Question marks over whether Dixon should have done better there. Down away to his left-hand side in the same corner he saved a few moments ago. But Wealdstone double their lead. We're only 12 minutes in. Oh, there's a ball inside the area for Adakwa to make it 3, and he does. One ball, split the defence. Adakwa finds his way in and finds his way past Dixon to make it 3-0 within half an hour. Hartlepool United have completely crumbled. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 0, and this really is a poor showing. Oh, now the ball is given away to Desirue, edge of the area. He's got Featherstone at the byline, looks to clip one back goalwards for Callum Cook, who scores, and it just about trickles into the back of the net. Callum Cook gets his 4th of the season. It was clipped into the area by Featherstone, and Cook, it looked like he didn't know too much about it, but perhaps just a slither of hope for Hartlepool United as we approach the end of the first half. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 1. Now Joe Gray pulls all of a sudden look interested. Hasty, right hand side of the penalty area, cuts it back to Desirue, lays it off for Joe Gray. Oh, it's in. It's in, and Gray gets one back, another one back, and Hartlepool United have gone from 3-0 down, and it's now 3-2. A cross into the penalty area that wasn't dealt with by the home side, and Joe Gray, it was cushioned into his path, and he struck it with real venom past the goalkeeper, who could have done better. Didn't quite get the palm behind it to deflect it. It went into the back of the net, and Pools have yet a further lifeline. 3-2.
Yeah, so that's how it stayed at the break. Pools back in it, 3-2 down at Wealdstone at the break after being 3-0 down with over 40 minutes on the clock. Elsewhere in the National League this afternoon then at half-time, it's AFC Fylde 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Barnet 3, Borehamwood 0, Chesterfield 1, Aldershot 1, Eastleigh 1, Dorking 0, Halifax 2, Rochdale 1, Kidderminster 1, Southend 2, Oldham, who Pools take on Boxing Day and the 30th. A 1-0 up at home to Gateshead. It's Oxford City 0, Solihull Moors 0, Woking 0, Maidenhead 0, York 1, Ebbsfleet 0, and Bromley against Altrincham is a 5:30 kickoff. Into the Premier League then, the early kickoff finish: West Ham 2, Manchester United 0. Half time in the 3 o'clocks, it is Fulham 0, Burnley 0, Luton 1, Newcastle 0, Nottingham Forest 0, Bournemouth 0, Tottenham 2, Everton 0, and Liverpool against Arsenal is your 5:30 kickoff. The early kickoff in the Championship finished Leeds United 4, Ipswich Town 0. Half-time elsewhere, it's Blackburn 1, Watford 0, Leicester 0, Rotherham 0, Middlesbrough 1, West Brom 0 over on 95 FM. Morgan Rogers giving Michael Carrick's side the lead at the Riverside. Elsewhere, half-times, Norwich 0, Huddersfield 0, Plymouth 1, Birmingham 2, QPR 0, Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff 0, Stoke 0, Millwall 0, Sunderland 0, Coventry 1. Into League One then, Barnsley 1, Stevenage 1 at half-time. Elsewhere, it's Blackpool 1, Bristol Rovers 1, Bolton 3, Leyton Orient 0, Carlisle 0, Cheltenham 1, Charlton 1, Burton Albion 0, Northampton 0, Oxford United 0, Portsmouth 1, Fleetwood 0, Reading 1, Wigan 0, Shrewsbury 0, Peterborough 0, and finally Wickham 0, Port Vale 0. Into League 2 then, your half-times: Accrington 1, Walsall 1, Grimsby 0, Harrogate 1, MK Dons 1-0 up at Morecambe. It's Sutton United 0, Mansfield Town 1, Tranmere 0, Swindon 1, and finally Wrexham 0, Newport County 0.
We're as passionate as you are.
BBC Radio T's Sport.
Couple couple of games that we're keeping an eye on in National League North, of course, one of which is down at Edgar Street, where Spennymoor Town lead by 1-0 away at Hereford. Not a great first half, though, for Darlington. They're up against Bishop Stortford at Blackwell Meadows this afternoon. Ray Simpson's watching this one.
Half-time here at Blackwell Meadows. It's Darlington 0, Bishop Stortford 2, and it's been a poor first half from a Darlington point of view. They conceded 2 sloppy goals, and they're given the advantage to the league's bottom club, who have only won 4 times this season. The visitors had the first real attempt of the game on 4 minutes, but Casarati's effort was well blocked by Hayden Lindley. But the visitors went ahead on 9 minutes. A high ball forward caught the Darlington defence flat-footed, and Ryan Charles got behind the defence and lobbed Tommy Taylor. The home side nearly levelled on 17 minutes. Ben Headley sent Cameron Salkeld away up the left, and he pulled the ball back into the 6-yard box for Will Hatfield, whose leftward shot was blocked by the outstretched right leg of keeper Jack Giddens. Quakers got ahead of steam going, nearly got a goal on 24 minutes when Platt won the ball in midfield and sent Salkeld away. In turn, he laid the ball off for Johnny Nagandu, who fired over the top. Bishops nearly got a second on 26 minutes when Darren Foxley won possession on the left, ran forward, hit a low left foot shot that Taylor fingertipped around the post, although the referee gave a goal kick. But just as it looked as if Quakers were taking control of the game with plenty of possession, the visitors went 2-0 up just on half-time when the home defence failed to clear a left-wing corner, and Serene Sow forced the ball home after a goal-mouth scramble. Half-time, Darlington 0, Bishop Stortford 2.
The natural world continues to surprise us.
On BBC iPlayer.
See mysterious creatures. Witness spectacular wonders.
Planet Earth 3. Watch on BBC iPlayer.
BBC Radio Tees Sports.
Yep, so that is how it is at the break in the National League North. Spennymoor Town 1-0 up down at Hereford, while Darlington are 2-0 down at home to Bishop Stortford. We'll keep you in touch with both of those throughout the course of the second half down at Wealdstone, as well as the latest from 95 FM, where Middlesbrough lead West Brom by 1-0 early into the second half there at the Riverside. But let's waste no more time. Let's head back towards the capital, shall we? And to Hartlepool United's trip to Wealdstone at Grosvenor Vale. An interesting first 45, Rob. Let's hope that Pools can continue the comeback trail.
Well, it certainly couldn't be as eventful as the first half, could it? Or could it? As we tease the second half, both teams out on the pitch. No changes for either side, so Pools as they were. Joel Dixon in goal, a back three on a Reese, Kieran Brennan and not Zach Johnson, because he went off injured, didn't he? David Ferguson and Brodie Patterson, who makes up the back four. Jake Hasty playing as the right wing back. Kieran Wallace, Callum Cook and Nicky Featherstone as your midfield three. Manny Dizaruwe and Joe Gray, the two up front. As for the opposition, no changes for Wealdstone either. Marcus Dewhurst in goal, a back four from right to left of Mason Barrett, Jaden Mundell-Smith, Jack Cook the captain, and Brooklyn Alunga. Two sitting defensive midfielders of Sam Bowen on loan from Newport, and Ashley Charles, with a forward three of Tyron Alarakia, Max Kretschmer and Michael Bira, with Sean Adarkwa up front, the man who scored two of Wealdstone's 3 goals already this afternoon. Pools in his second half, kicking from left to right. Wealdstone on the attack with Alarakia breaking through the centre of the pitch and gives it straight away to Nicky Featherstone, who goes back to his goalkeeper in Joel Dixon. Joe Ramage alongside me from the Hartlepool Mail for final time, Joe. Yeah. It'd be sad to see you go, my friend, but it's been a wild ride, and it looks like you're going out on what has the potential to be a barnstormer.
Yeah, plenty of goals. It's entertaining enough, isn't it? Hopefully we can see them complete the turnaround here. It would be a nice way to sign off and an improved second half performance at least anyway.
Yeah, let's hope so. But you'd love to be a fly on the wall in that dressing room at the break, wouldn't you? Given how Pools ended that first half. 3-0 down, get back into it at 3-2. And very much growing in confidence as Gray tries to find Hasty down the right-hand side. Does well to try and keep it in. He's fighting with his man, and it's out for a Pools throw, which Hasty wanted to take quickly. who's now going to leave it for Kieran Brennan, so it's just short of the penalty area away to our right-hand side. Brennan in towards Gray, who's got his 4th goal of the season this afternoon. And Pools with another throw, about 5 yards further down the touchline on this near side. Pools kicking from left to right in this second half. Wilsden 3, Pools 2 as it stands. The throw in from Brennan into the area for Wallace at the angle, and it's cleared hurriedly from inside the 6-yard area by Jaden Mundell-Smith. Out into touch. Throw-in taken quickly by Brennan. Hasty wins another throw-in. So Pools really keeping Wilsden penned in inside their own box at the minute. And as I say that, the ball drops out for a goal kick. So what do you think John Askey's message would have been at the break, Joe, to his players, given how that second half ended?
Like I said at the break, I think he'll have been annoyed. He certainly should have been, because you can't let those 5 or 10 minutes paper over what was otherwise an appalling first half. Yeah, you give them a little bit of credit for certainly the second goal, going and getting the second one. But like we said before the break, too much of that first half was not acceptable. There's players on the field here who are capable of better and should demand better of themselves than what we saw in that first half. So it certainly shouldn't have been any pleasantries in there for me. And they've certainly started this second half a little bit brighter.
Yeah, they've got a bit of belief as Joe Gray finds Hasty, brushes past his man. He's inside the area. Left-footed shot from Hasty is saved. It's scrambled down inside the 6-yard area. And Desiree just about keeps it in on the byline. Takes a deflection inside the box. It lays off to Cook, who looks to curl one and hits the crossbar. And it bounces behind. Well, what a passage of play that was. There's a ball bouncing around inside the box. Pools able to keep on the end of it. Hasty will surely think that he could have been more clinical. Threw in on goal. 1-on-1 with the keeper. But Marcus Dewhurst didn't really have to do an awful lot. I mean, he got down well to it, but it was hit at him more than anything else. And he didn't gather it on the rebound either. And chaos ensued. Pools have it back. You have the real wind in their sails at the minute, Hartlepool United. As the ball goes out for a Wilson throw over on the far side, and Wilston have a man down. And it's Micah Bire who is down.
Once Hasty got in there, you were thinking it was his to take. You know, I don't know whether he telegraphed that far corner too much and then tried to give the keeper the eyes. Credit to the goalkeeper, he sort of saw through that, but you should back yourself. He should have scored there. It was similar to the one where he went in, cut in from the right foot against York, wasn't it? And he found the corner well that day, and he tried to go to the near post there, and ultimately ends up being a bit of a poor finish, to be honest, but gets recycled out there. Suri involved again. Callum Cook, good effort off the top of the bar. Close, you just hope they don't live to regret that, but it's a decent start, and if they can get that goal early and level things up, then it's absolutely there for them, isn't it?
And Cook just tried to measure that one into the top corner, didn't he? And it collided off the crossbar. And worth pointing out that Pools are attacking the goal, which is housing Alarakia on the attack. His shot is blocked by Wallace. Now to Mundell-Smith on this near side. Left-footed cross into the area on a Reese, able to clear. A little bit unorthodox, but he got it away. And it's a throw in to Wealdstone. Yes, the Pools fans away to our right behind the goal that Pools are attacking. Thank you to Adam, who's been in touch on X. He says, I'm not going to lie, Rob, my finger was hovering over the off button, but it's certainly on now. I'm calling 4-3 to Pools. A brave prediction from Adam there on X. We like a brave prediction. Ilunga out to Alarakia. Stands his man up by the corner flag. Tries to twist and turn past Hasty, but Hasty does well to just stay with him. Alarakia gets across away to the back post, and Dixon gathers it and balls it out overarm to Cook. Just gets the ball stuck to him a little bit there, Cook. And slows down that attack. And Wilson are able to clear and keep hold of possession with Mundell-Smith. Now Alarakia infield. Oh, he gives it straight away to Kieran Brennan. And Wilston are sat on the heels here. Gray attacking down the right hand side was Brennan, but Gray couldn't find him. Mundell-Smith now tries to feed the ball through to Adarko, who's on a hat-trick, by the way. Abiro from the touchline, running infield now to the centre of the pitch.
It's got one of those fields where the next goal probably could go and win this.
Yeah.
Or will go and win it, rather.
That next goal is going to be huge. Space opens up for Abiro, gets inside the penalty area, rounds 2 defenders and then puts it wide. He did the hard bit. Sat down 2 Pools defenders who almost collided into each other. Then he just tried to tease it into the back post, and instead it ends up as a goal kick. That was a let-off.
I mean, it's a bit of a sitter in the end. He does so well, you know, to latch onto the ball over the top, and then he cuts inside. I think he beats 2 of them. I think it was Brennan and Henrique to skip inside, and he almost naturally opens the angle up for him just to find the far corner, but he's just outside the post. We're right behind that and waiting for it to sort of curl back in. Fortunately, it goes the wrong side. Yeah, real big let-off.
Hereford 1, Spennymoor Town 1 in the National League North, as Pools have Manny Desirue down, it looks like, over on the far side, and there's some real concern over Desirue here, who has stayed down. I'm just trying to make out what part of the body it is, because it seemed a really innocuous problem or knock that he took. But he's down over on the far side and getting some treatment from the physio. Meanwhile, both sets of players are over at their respective benches. 53 minutes on the clock. Wilston 3, Hartlepool United 2 on BBC Radio T Sport, on your DAB digital radio and online via the BBC Football website. Whichever way you're listening to us this afternoon, thank you for being with us. It has been an entertaining game, probably for all the wrong reasons, but now for all the right reasons. There is a real feel that, as Joe Ramage described from the Hartlepool Mail, the next goal is going to be vital to this game. If Pools get the equaliser, the momentum is with them. If Wealdstone, the home side, get it, then they will feel surely that they can do enough to see it out. Manny Desirue is still down, getting treatment. I think they're trying to give him the best possible chance to get up and continue here, but he is getting a real look over from Danny O'Connor, the physio. Both sets of players have now broken away from their respective benches. Desirue is up on his feet. And he's walking very heavily indeed. And it would, everybody, you can almost hear everybody in Hartlepool holding their breath, can't you?
Yeah, he is vital to them. 15 goals is it this season. You can't afford to not have someone like that in your team. So yeah, fingers crossed he can run that off.
Yeah, he's just trying to jog it off on the halfway line. You can see him almost testing it out. It looks to be his ankle.
I just wonder whether that's a little bit of an after effect after the free kick in the first half, because he took a little bit of time to shake that off as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's been in the wars, hasn't he? He's had a few knocks this afternoon. Well, I think...
Not Josh Shimura going to...
Yeah, I think Desirue is going to be pulled here and perhaps saved from himself. He was trying to jog up and down the touchline over on the far side to see if he could shake off whatever the problem was. And it seems like Pools are going to be without Manny Desirue. The question is for how long. Josh O'Meara is preparing to enter the field. A man who could certainly do with a goal or two to just reignite his goal scoring form of last season. Just one to his name for Josh O'Meara. It's his longest spell without a goal since he was at Torquay back in 2020.
Be a good place to come on and do it. Obviously he scored quite a few here, didn't he?
Absolutely. Now Mundell-Smith, as we're back underway for Wealdstone. Encroaching into the Pools half of play, Alarakia, centre of the field, looking for an option wide on the right hand side. Wilson on the attack towards the byline, and the cross is deflected behind for a corner. Wilson get their 5th corner of the afternoon, while Pools make their 2nd change. Manny Desiruwe goes off, and Josh O'Meara comes on to replace him. Corner then to the home side. There's a body right underneath Joel Dixon. The ball into the penalty area, cleared by Pools. Only as far as Cook, who races towards the halfway line to try and close down Ashley Charles, who launches a ball back towards the 18-yard line. Alarakia gets a ball caught up underneath his studs. Pools are able to clear. It might break for O'Meara. Doesn't quite get there. And Ashley Charles just thumps the ball out for a goal kick in the end. 57 minutes on the clock. Wilston 3, Hartlepool United 2. And it feels like both teams are just having to reset a little bit after the stoppages and the injury to Desiruwe, and regroup almost, Joe.
Yeah, it was a bit of a frantic start, wasn't it? Chances at both ends. Like you say, that stoppage in play, there'll be a little bit of concern there, obviously, from Hartlepool. You don't want, like, the players will know the importance of Desiruwe, so to see him go off, it'll be a bit of a blow to them. But, like we said, it's a big opportunity for Josh O'Meara now. He's got to come in and he's got to try and find some of the form that we know that he's capable of from last season.
Yeah, because when he gets going, Josh O'Meara, with his goals, you would hope that it's just that one that gives him the confidence to go on and get more.
It's a strange one, because in the summer when they kept hold of him, you would think that was such a big bit of business from them, and the thought of them two linking up, it seemed like it would be a good match, but that hasn't been the case. And when O'Meara's come in, because you can't dislodge Desiruwe really as a lone striker, when he's come in it just hasn't quite worked for him. There's been a couple of little injuries and some suspension and discipline issues, isn't there, as well, like bookings, red cards, things like that. But yeah, he needs to try and rekindle some of the form that we saw in the first half of last season in particular.
Over 30 goals in his last 2 seasons.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's capable of it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And against his former side, I'm sure he'd love to get back on the score sheet this afternoon. As Josh O'Meara wins it on the edge of the area, still fighting for it, lays it off for Cook, who tries to round the keeper. It's cleared off the line by Wilston. A sliding challenge that comes in to deny Pools an equalising goal. But O'Meara fighting with his man on the 18-yard line, winning the ball. How much he knew of his pass into Cook, I don't know, but Cook tried to round the keeper and again just pass it into the back of the net. But the covering defender was able to keep it out. It's a corner to Pools, their first corner of the game. It swings in right on top of the keeper and ends up over the crossbar and out for a goal kick.
I just wonder whether there was anything in the challenge on O'Meara on the edge of the box there. He sort of robbed the defender and then went down, but almost a little bit too honest, trying to get a shot at goal, and then he probably does the right thing to spread one further to Cook, and he's a little bit unlucky. I think it was Alunga on the line who clears it.
I mean, it was a brilliant block, wasn't it, on the line? Yeah. That covering run. But the block on the line keeps it Wilston 3, Hartlepool United 2. As Pools win it back with Gray. And he gets hacked down, but the referee says that Wilston won the ball. Alarakia now going back to Mundell Smith towards his own byline. He's fighting to keep hold of it, and Pools get the throw in. And of course, Wilston played on Tuesday night against Billericay Town in the FA Trophy, while Pools have had the full week to prepare for this. So you do wonder, if the longer the game goes on, how much that will play into things.
Yeah, just like the message said with the demand tyre.
Absolutely. O'Meara. Oh, it's foul throw, would you believe it, from Kieran Brennan. Not often you see those, is it?
It's up there with being offside when you look along the line. Foul throw.
Yeah,
Just should not happen, should it?
It is not good, is it? You don't need that. Well, it's all to play for here in West London. 61 minutes on the clock. BBC Radio T Sport on your DAB digital radio and online via the BBC Football website. Wilston with the throw in parallel to the Pools penalty area. On a Reese, wins it back and then clears it up towards Gray, who collides with his man in midair. The ball falls kindly to Alarakia. Now Kretschmer. Adakwa lays it off to Bowen, looks to hit it from distance and does. It's spilled initially by Dixon, gathers it at the second attempt. But Bowen once again testing Dixon from distance. Done that a few times this afternoon.
Yeah, well, you probably would. You'd look to do that. Dixon's been shaky, hasn't he? There's a couple that he's had to gather at the second attempt, and obviously the goal as well. We've already mentioned the sort of 6-yard box down that end as well. If you catch one where it zips off there in front of him.
So Wilson fans, you can hear as Nicky Featherstone does well to win it. He finds Wallace, pulls inside their own half though, forced back to Dixon. The wind really swirling around the ground at the minute, which I do wonder if that is having an effect on the conditions on the pitch and how the ball is moving. Oh, so Wilson overplayed and put it out for a Pools throw-in. And all of a sudden, as Hartlepool United race to take this throw-in, John Askey's men look like they've still got plenty of energy in those legs. Joe Gray fighting for it, almost gets the shirt ripped off his back, but he keeps hold of it. Gray out to the right hand side for Hasty, skipping infield from the touchline. Now Featherstone, a little bit of space to operate. He finds Wallace inside the centre circle, looks to feed a ball into O'Meara. He tries to flick it one way and run the other way around his marker. Instead it goes through to Marcus Dewhurst in the opposition goal, away to our right hand side. Well, Joe, you mentioned the end of the first half, you know, that opening half an hour when Pools were 3-0 down. It's flirting with being the type of game that could see a manager lose his job. But what does the reaction do if they can actually see this through? Hold that thought, because Alaraki has gone the long way around Hasty. Hasty gets back at him, and it's a free kick to Wealdstone, right on the 18-yard line.
It's a strange one to give, particularly given Gray just a minute ago almost had the shirt off his back and it hasn't blown up.
Yeah, it's a good point, but it is a free kick to Wealdstone. Korechma is going to take it. Sam Bourne is there as well. It's a two-man Pools wall. Bourne leaves it for Korechma, who's already got one this afternoon. Oh, now it's just a one-man Pools wall. I'm surprised at that. I was going to say it could have done with another man in there. It curls in to right on top of Dixon, who gets there, but only just. It was a real mess of a collection, because there was a collision in there as well.
He actually did quite well there, because I think Brennan tried to hook it clear, and it was one of those where any sort of touch and it could go in.
He had to be brave, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
To get down to that. His Pools look to win it back on the halfway line, and they do, but it falls kindly for Obiro. Goes back to Dixon, looks long for Cook, who's racing away down the left-hand side to try and keep the ball in. Jack Cook has the beating of him, and the referee, oh well, Callum Cook has talked himself into a yellow card here. And as we often say with Callum Cook, he does have that in him. Sometimes he is his own worst enemy, isn't he, when it comes to his name getting put down in the referee's book.
Yeah, I think he did it last week, didn't he, on the goalkeeper, when a chance escaped him and he went and barged into the keeper a little bit, didn't he?
I wonder if he's looking for Boxing Day off. I joke. There's that story of Mark Schwarzer, who recently revealed that there was one or two Borough players in his time at the club that would often get suspended, ironically, right in time for Boxing Day. Oh, a sliding challenge from Mani Onarise there, who goes in hard on his man on the halfway line. I suspect that is just going to be a talking to. It might be a yellow, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. The referee has the yellow card in his hand. So Mani Onarise, the latest name in the book from a Pools perspective. And the game has just got a little bit scrappy, hasn't it?
It'll suit Wealdstone how the game's gone in the last 5 minutes or so. I think the Deosurid injury's taken a little bit of the sting out of Hartlepool. But there's still time. What's the clock on there? 67. So
yeah,
still plenty of time for them.
Free kick to Wealdstone, just short of the halfway line. Charles looks to clip one into the Pools penalty area, but Dixon quick off his line to gather that one. Dixon with the ball at his feet, dressed all in yellow. The floodlights beaming down onto the pitch, casting shadows on it as we enter the final. Just over 20 minutes left to play in this second half. And it's a throw-in to the home side, away to our right. Deep inside their own half, Alarakia gets caught in possession. Hasty wins it, circles back on himself. Joe Gray's there if he needs him. He's got two men in front of him. Hasty keeps going, lays it off for Joe Gray. Tries to find a way through into the penalty area. It falls for Featherstone. Inside the box, O'Meara wriggles free, puts it back across the face of goal, and it's launched clear by Sam Bowen and into touch for a Pools throw-in.
Does everything right there, Josh O'Meara.
Yeah.
Beats his man to the byline, cuts it back, there's a bit of pace on it. Just needs somebody there to touch it in, really. It was good defending as well. Just needs someone to gamble on that a little bit.
You feel there's more goals in this, don't you?
Yeah, it does look that way.
There's, Darkwa leaps over a sliding challenge from Onarise, but Pools and David Ferguson back to just sweep up the danger and launch an attack of their own up towards O'Meara. Doesn't quite reach him. Joe Gray tries to win it in the air. Neither team can get the ball down at the minute, as Bowen eventually collects it and plucks it from the night sky for the blue shirts of Wealdstone. Alarakia drifting in from the left. Back to the halfway line for Charles, who finds a good pass out to Ilongo, who's then dispossessed, and Pools look to attack. This is tit for tat now, isn't it? It really is, end to end, and Brodie Patterson finds Callum Cook on the line. He goes down the line to Patterson once more, tries to deliver into the box as Body's arriving at the back post. It hangs up in the air. Wealdstone can't quite get it away. They eventually do with Alarakia, who finds a B-roll. It's so open at times, isn't it? It's really opening up, and Hasty has nicked it, skipping infield, and then just gets dispossessed. A sliding challenge from David Ferguson wins possession, but it's straight back to a blue shirt of Wealdstone. Wealdstone go long as the wind again howls around Grosvenor Vale. Abiro running at his man, twisting, turning, tries to get the angle and then pulls it just short the right hand post of Joel Dixon. He's been a constant thorn in the side. Change for the home side. Max Korechma going off. He gets a round of applause for his goal. Nathan Ferguson coming on to replace him. So Max Korechma getting just his second goal of the season. Nathan Ferguson coming on to replace him. "70 minutes have elapsed. Wealdstone 3, Hartlepool United 2. Don't forget, on the full-time whistle, your chance to have your say on BBC Radio Tees Sport between 5 and 6. All the post-match reaction as well to come. And if you're heading out, maybe you're making the journey to go see family this Christmas, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing, you'll be able to find all the post-match reaction the views and interviews on @BBCT Sport on X. Whatever the full-time result. Throw into Wealdstone, just underneath one of the makeshift floodlights. And it's going to be Brooklyn Alunga who has this arching long throw, and he's utilising it now, headed away by Wallace, just away from Joe Gray, so back it comes from Wealdstone, down the right-hand side to Alunga, who tries to collect the ball out of the air. Pools just have to put it out for safekeeping. It's another throw to the home side as Alunga dries the white ball with the front of his blue shirt. In it comes once more, right to the front post, headed out by Wallace, collected by Cook, who thumps it up to the halfway line. And Wealdstone able to collect and usher it back to Marcus Dewhurst, the Wealdstone keeper, dressed all in green. He goes long, looking for a Darkwa, does well to make something of that. Now Alunga to Bowen. This looks like danger. It's a chance for Wealdstone inside the area, but good defensive cover from Ferguson, who just stands his ground, and he picks out a pass to Josh Omer, who traps it on his chest, and then there's a wayward pass there from Callum Cook, who apologises to his teammates because Joe Gray was in over on this near side, but Cook instead got his calculations all wrong, and Wealdstone have it inside their own half of play. Ashley Charles back to Mundell Smith. Now Nathan Ferguson gets a little shove in the back as Pools try to press and force a mistake, and they just about keep hold of it, and they win it with Hasty on the touchline on this near side. Now Ferguson, Featherstone finds Amera, back to goal, and he's just been hustled and harried off the ball. So Wealdstone have it and look to attack down this near side with Alarakia, and it's 2v2. There's a through ball to Abiro, who's in on goal. 1v1 with Dixon! And the offside flag has saved Pools' blushes. Abiro offside, and Hartlepool United live to fight another day.
Yeah, it looked as though he went early. I think it was Featherstone who he immediately looked across to the linesman. He was confident that was going to be flagged offside. But it's a high line now, isn't it? The Abiro in particular is threatening a little bit with a bit of pace in behind.
He's been really impressive this afternoon.
Yeah, he has. I think it was his assist, wasn't it, for the third as well.
Yeah. Free kick to Pools, then Dixon goes up towards Amera, who loses out, swings a boot at his man and gives away a free kick. 15 minutes left to play. Considering Pools scored 2 goals in the space of 3 minutes, 15 minutes is an age, isn't it? A lot could happen in 15 minutes. Yet more changes being readied from the Pools bench. And it looks to be Mitch Hancock's, I think. And it is. Mitch Hancock's is going to come on. He is going to replace Kieran Wallace, who goes off. Thoughts on Kieran Wallace this afternoon, Joe?
It's kind of passed him by a little bit, hasn't it? There's not a lot that's kind of gone through him.
Space opens up for Mundell Smith through the centre of the pitch. He goes out to the left for Alaraki. He looks to curl one round Dixon, who's equal to it, and then it's scuffed home, and it's a hat-trick for Shauna Darkwa. The initial save from Dixon was a good one, but it fell to a blue shirt, and that blue shirt was a Darkwa, who, as he's done all afternoon, made no mistake and was able to fire in to make it Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 2.
Yeah, straight from a substitute as well, which will frustrate John Askey, but you would imagine 15 minutes ago that will probably be it. Hartlepool, they've gone off the ball a little bit since that Daisuri injury, haven't really been able to adjust to it, and there's a couple of times they've got in down this left hand side, whether it be Abiro or Alarakia, and it came from him. It was a good save initially, but Dixon pushes it out into an area where he probably shouldn't. Might be doing a little bit of disservice because that was going on target as well, so he had to deal with it. And Dark was there to convert into what is an empty net, really, isn't it? And like I say, that'll probably be it, unfortunately.
It's a hat-trick for Adakwa. It's misery for Pools. Unless there is yet further twist to this game that has pitched and booked throughout the afternoon. At times, Pools have been banging on the door looking for an equaliser. At the start of the game, they looked completely lost and all at sea. Abiro looking to pull the strings once more, finds Nathan Ferguson, right-hand side of the penalty area. He's got David Ferguson with him. And Ferguson blocks that. And out for a corner, Wealdstone's 6th of the game. So it's a corner to the home side. It seems a long way back now, doesn't it? With just over 10 minutes left to play. And Lunga with this corner for the home side. Floats to the back post, a free header! Oh, and it's off the post! And somehow stays out! Back into the penalty area again. Wealdstone trying to find a way through. Alarakia stands his man up, it's Hasty. Studs on top of the ball, into Mundell Smith, and denied at the front post by Dixon once more. And danger still not averted yet. And still, the home side come forward. Ferguson into Abiro, back to Ferguson once more. Inside the box, shot laid off and ends up going behind for a goal kick. Well, that was absolute pinball Sabutio type stuff there for a minute. How that didn't go in. A save from Dixon. The ball cascading off the post, running across the goal mouth. And Abiro back on the attack for Wealdstone. Alarakia stops the ball dead onto his right foot, opens up the angle for himself, and the shot is blocked. Now Cook wins it for John Askey's men, turns away from danger, and then is just out-muscled. A ball over the top is a hopeful one for Pools, as he goes out for a throw-in in the end. 78 minutes on the clock. Now Joe Gray leaves it for Featherstone inside the centre circle. Featherstone wants an option. Hasty looks to provide it on the overlap. I think Hasty's carrying a knock. He seems to be moving very heavy. Joe Gray into Cook. Tries to turn away from the pressing, advancing blue shirts. Featherstone once more. Pools building nicely. Cook, Featherstone into O'Meara. Back to goal. Trying to find himself some space. Fighting for it. Scrapping for it. Comes out on top inside the area. Left-footed shot for O'Meara is in. Josh O'Meara finally has another goal to his tally this season. Just his second. His first since the opening day of the season. And it comes against his former side. Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 3. All is not lost yet. There's 10 minutes left to play.
I mean, can you explain this game to me? Because I mean, full credit to Josh O'Meara there. It looked like a lost cause 3 or 4 times when he was on the deck, but he still continued to battle away. Got back up, picked himself up. Didn't want the penalty that might have been given. Wrestles away from his man on his weaker side to left, and then puts it into the bottom corner. And now he's set for a grandstand finish again. 10 minutes to go. Can you believe it?
I've run out of paper.
Yeah, I'm struggling myself.
Pools might be in again here. O'Meara from distance. And he found the car park away to our right-hand side. 10 minutes left to play. Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 3. Pools have won all 3 games they've ever played against Wealdstone. They've never lost. They've never drawn. Albeit it's a small sample size, I'll give you that. But it remains a fact.
You did promise us goals today, though, so...
Well, yeah. It's your last one, my friend. We had to go out with a bang, didn't we? Let's hope there's further fireworks to come in this final 10 minutes. Pools win it back with Featherstone. Hasty combining well. Now Joe Gray turning away from danger. Wealdstone have committed a lot of bodies forward here. If Pools could get the ball up the field quickly, they might catch them. There is an ocean of space in the centre of the field. As Mitch Hancock gets his cross away somehow. O'Meara slides in, a shot from Cook, which arrows narrowly wide of the left-hand upright. And it remains Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 3. This is a bonkers game. Just when you think you know what's going to happen next, there is a twist. One thing's for certain, don't touch your radio. You've got 9 minutes or so left plus stoppage time. If dinner's waiting, it can wait. It is a grandstand finish, as Joe Ramage described. It falls for Nathan Ferguson. The shot on the volley is over the crossbar, way to our left-hand side. It's a Pools goal kick.
Still feels like there's another goal in this.
It does, doesn't it? It really does feel like there's perhaps just one more. And you can't call it either, can you? It could go either way. The goal kick from Dixon goes all the way to the byline. Mitch Hancock is fighting for it, but not able to get near. And Mitch Hancock has gone in on his man off the ball there, so it's a free kick to the home side. Just up from the corner flag over on the far side of play. 82 minutes on the clock. Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 3. On what has been an incredible afternoon. It's also been an incredible afternoon for Barnet in the National League. They're leading Boreham Wood 6-0. And at Barnet is where Josh O'Meara scored his last goal for Pools. Until tonight, when he scored against his former side to make it 4-3. John Askey's men fighting to find an equaliser in the final 7 minutes. Wealdstone have it inside their own half, all the way back with their goalkeeper Marcus Dewhurst. Takes a touch outside of his 18-yard box and launches it long. Kieran Brennan is underneath it and heads it out into touch. Throwing quickly taken. Mundell Smith has it on the touchline. Pools are able to intercept. Gray and Featherstone combining well on the halfway line. Now on a Risset. Joe, get thinking about your BBC Radio T-Sport man of the match. As Pools pick up a loose ball in midfield. Cook, centre of the field. Finds Gray, out to this near side for Hasty. What can he provide? He's been tricky all afternoon. Hasty, left-footed shot is tame in the end. Just trickles into the thankful arms of Marcus Dewhurst in the Wealdstone goal. Well, at the minute, Wealdstone are heading for their 4th straight win in all competitions. And they will, if it stays like this, maintain their incredible record at home, which stands at just 1 defeat on home soil all season. Only Barnet and Chesterfield have bettered that, and it is certainly a club that are doing very well with what they have, Joe.
Yeah, I mean that in itself is an impressive start, and it tells you that this was always likely to be a difficult afternoon, but that still doesn't legislate for what we saw in the first half. You still can't perform like that away from home, whether it's a good home record or not. But yeah, I mean, full credit to Wealdstone for what they're doing, like you say, with the resources. I think 24 of their 29 points have come here, so it tells you all you need to know about them.
Well, somebody's got a National League football for Christmas, as Wealdstone just cleared that one into touch. Mitch Hancock's trying to turn his marker on the edge of the area. Oh, the rebound might fall for Featherstone on a Risset. Has to control it. Ferguson, all one-touch passing from Pools, trying to find a way through. But Sam Bowen has it for the home side. As the clearance is up, David Ferguson has won it though, in the centre of the pitch. Ferguson sliding in, might open up for Gray, tries to feed the ball through to O'Meara, but just denied. Pools still have it with Hasty, back to Gray once more. Gray looks to deliver across and does a flicked on header from O'Meara that doesn't quite get there. It was Mitch Hancock's, in fact, inside the box. It was a save down low from Dewhurst to deny Pools an equaliser with 4 minutes left to play. You still feel there's something in this?
Yeah, it was half a chance that he does the right thing in terms of glancing it, looking for the far corner, and then you're just wanting somewhat Callum Cook or Joshua Murray to go and gamble on the rebound because the keeper did spill it. We've touched on the goal mouths, you know, that it does lend itself to keepers fumbling a little bit.
Hereford 2, Spennymoor 1, an updated score from the National League North this afternoon. Well, the goalkeeper, Marcus Dewhurst, is going to need some treatment here. He's just stretching out his hamstring. There's confirmation of that score, Hereford 2, Spennymoor 1. And now the Wilston keeper is getting some treatment inside his own penalty area, so that allows for both sets of players to go over to their respective benches and get a final team talk. It's almost like what you see before extra time or penalties, isn't it? It is a timeout effectively, and both managers now having some time with their players to try and inspire them across the line one way or the other.
I mean, you don't know how big a few minutes these could be for John Askey, to be honest. You know, a result like this is only going to worsen the problems. And just a quick look at the league table. I know the majority of teams below them are getting beat, so it doesn't affect things too much, but we're talking more about relegation battle than a playoff race at the minute, aren't we? So results like this aren't going to help things like that.
No, and no matter the how many goals Pools have scored this afternoon, it's that start that could potentially cost them.
Yeah, I mean, how many times this season has it taken them to be a couple of goals behind before they have started in games?
Abiro wins the ball and keeps it well. Sam Bourne now for Wilson, midway inside the Pools half. Cook tracking back and wins a throw-in. And the referee just holding up play because there's going to be a change for Wealdstone. So off goes Sean Adakwa. He leaves with the match ball. Almost doubled his tally for the season. He had 4 before this afternoon. He's now got 7. Corey Andrews coming on to replace him, so a like-for-like replacement there. Sean Adakwa had 2 in his last 3 coming into this afternoon. Scored against Dagenham and Redbridge in the last National League game. He's now got 5 in 4 after his hat-trick this afternoon against Pools. In Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 3. We're in the 89th minute. Pools are looking for an equaliser, and they're in possession. A shot from distance, which goes in! Mitch Hancocks has buried one from nigh on 30 yards. And Hartlepool United have potentially snatched a point from the jaws of defeat. And Mitch Hancocks, of all people, with a screamer. It's 4-4.
Wow, this game, man. I mean, Mitch Hancocks in his loan spell has done very little, I think it's safe to say, but what a strike that was. You know, he's picked it up in an area sort of 25-30 yards off from goal, and he just thought, why not? He was close a couple of minutes earlier with the header. He's obviously got a little bit of confidence coming from that, and it's a great strike into the bottom corner. What a finish. 4-4. Wow.
What is life? What is happening? This is a ridiculous game of football that we're seeing here this afternoon. And a goal, Mitch Hancocks, I'll say it now, he won't score a better goal in his career, Mitch Hancocks. That was an incredible strike from distance. It was 30 yards plus, left hand side. It was low, he hit it hard, it moved fast, didn't it, through the air. And it caught Marcus Dewhurst out. He'll be asking questions of himself, I'm sure. Now, could Pools win it here? Joe Gray, there's 6 minutes of stoppage time, which we're into now. Featherstone Now to Brennan. Fans in front of us, Wilston can't believe how this game is. They should have been home and hosed by now.
Yeah, they should. And that's why you do give Hartlepool credit, as much as the performance is rightly going to come under criticism. They do show a bit of fighting spirit.
Oh, as Dewhurst comes out right to the edge of his 18-yard line to collect that. Full time as Darlington have been beaten in the National League North. Darlington 0, Bishop Stortford 2. Wealdstone in possession at the base of the defence. 6 minutes of stoppage time. As we said earlier, don't go anywhere. Now Wealdstone in possession. Alarakia trying to feed a through ball to Abiro, but backtracking is Brodie Patterson. Joel Dixon has come out and caught his man inside the area, but we play on. Cook finds Joe Gray, and he's in space inside the area, and he tries to cut it back. He should have gone by himself. It's at the byline across the face of goal, and somehow it's cleared, and now Wealdstone look to attack from one end of the pitch to the other. He slows up in midfield with Ferguson.
Why is Joe Gray not gone for goal himself there? And then it still nearly goes in. I think it was Callum Cook who went in for the header and scrambled away.
I think you're right. Alarakia accelerating down the left-hand side to try and keep the ball in for Wealdstone, and he does. He's running it hasty. Alarakia onto his right foot, curls one inside the 6-yard area, headed away by Honorise. Clearance completed. Oh, it's completely given away by Hasty to Ashley Charles. Now Mundell Smith. Abiro trying to turn his man into Mundell Smith at the angle. Oh, it's saved low down by Joel Dixon, who does well to deny the home side. It's still 4-4, and Wealdstone have a corner. Wealdstone's 7th corner to Hartlepool's 1 this evening. It's going to be an in-swinger. 3 minutes of stoppage time left to play. Plenty of bodies at the back post. The referee watching closely for pushing and shoving. And he blows up here because Joel Dixon is having a shoving match on his goal line with Corey Andrews. We're in the 94th minute. Mitch Hancock's and Corey Andrews now also getting involved in some pushing and shoving. The corner still waiting to be delivered from the left side. An in-swinger. It's right on top of Dixon. It's headed away by Honorise, but there's no out for Pools. Alarakia picks up possession. Turns his man. Faces goalwards. Squares it off for Sam Bowen, who we know can shoot from distance. This time he just lifts it into the penalty area. Mundell Smith back across the box. The shot takes a deflection and goes behind for another corner. Wealdstone really cranking up the pressure now on the Pools goal. We're into the final 60 seconds of stoppage time.
Everything's gone out the window here, hasn't it? It's kitchen sink time from both teams.
Fine margin stuff in the final moments. The corner swung in, headed away by Honorise, flicked on by Cook towards Joe Gray. Back to the halfway line. Ashley Charles thumps it long into the penalty area. Joe Dixon punches it away. He ends up down inside the box. Wealdstone have it. Alarakia, left hand side of the penalty area. His shot is wide of the mark. And we are into the final 30 seconds. Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 4. Surely that's got to be it. For everybody's heart rate inside this ground, surely that has to be it.
There's a Wealdstone supporter in front of me who's just turned around and she's looking at me as if to say, what is happening here?
Oh, Pools forcing pressure on. Marcus Dewhurst doesn't get his clearance further up the pitch as he would like. Alarakia collects the ball, gives it back to his centre back in Mundell Smith, and there is the full-time whistle Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 4. An incredible game of football that started in the most disjointed of ways. Pools were all at sea and 3-0 down after half an hour. Defensive mistakes that cost them, goalkeeping mistakes that cost them, and they looked a million miles off it. But just before the break, Callum Cook getting a goal that gave them some hope, and that's where the hope really sprung, because in stoppage time at the end of the first 45, they made it 3-2 after Joe Gray lashed home following some good build-up play from Manny Desirue. Into the second half, you had that feeling that this game had more goals in it. Both teams had chances. Manny Desirue went off injured, and albeit there was a block on the line for a chance from Josh O'Meara, Alarakia made it 4-2 on 76 minutes when his initial shot was saved, but then parried out into the path of Sean Adarkwa, who got his hat-trick and made it 4-2. But Josh O'Meara, who came on to replace Manny Desirue, as I mentioned, scoring against his old side, just his second goal of the season, made it 4-3. And then in the 90th minute, Mitch Hancock's from distance, 30 plus yards out, just thought, why not? It's Christmas, and landed a gift for Hartlepool United in the shape of a point when at times it looked like they didn't deserve any. It ends Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 4 in a bonkers game of football. And John Askey will somehow have to pick the bones out of that for Boxing Day. But what a game we've witnessed. Hartlepool United somehow live to fight another day.
Yeah, I'm almost lost for words, to be honest, for what I've just seen. Incredible game. Interesting to see the Wealdstone players gathered in a huddle there, because they must feel as though they've passed up 3 points here. To be 3-0 up, coasting, and then to go 4-2 up as well. You know, I'm struggling to sum it up, because in the bigger picture, that it's another bad afternoon for Hartlepool, because it's another game without a win. They've conceded 4 more goals, and there were large elements that first half that were not acceptable. But then at the same time, you cannot not credit them for coming back in and fighting their way back in to get something out of that game, because at 3-0 down, that game is over. Yeah, they get a little bit of help in hand in how the first goal came about, but then credit them, they go and get the second, make a game of it, and then to fight back at 4-2 and make it 4-4, and they could have won it, could have lost it as well. Yeah, you do have to give them a lot of credit for that. But it again leaves more questions than answers. Why can't they knit it all together? Because if you do, you'll win more games than you'll lose at this level. Probably doesn't help John Askey much, or the players. So yeah, there's so much to try and dissect and take in from that game. But in the short term, you have to say a good point, given the circumstances. In the long term, you probably say not. Yeah, remarkable game of football. Incredible, that second half.
Your man of the match?
I thought Joe Gray was decent. You know, he was one of the ones who was pressing in the first half, although there wasn't much behind him. He got the goal. I'm crying out for him to shoot there at the end.
Yeah.
I know he then does well to recycle it, and it almost gets converted by Callum Cook. He was probably the one who I thought was decent and quite like himself today. He was unlucky when he hit the bar as well, and the one off the line. So between them two, I'd probably give it to Joe Gray. I quite like his energy today, certainly when there was a lot of lost causes out there. You know, his body language was one that didn't really drop. So yeah, I'd give it to him.
Well, Joe, it's your final game with us. Really appreciated your company up and down the country over the last couple of years. It's been a pleasure. You've been a pleasure to deal with. You'll be a huge miss for Hartlepool United's coverage. I know you don't want to make this a big deal and you'd like to go out all quiet and whatnot, but it's been a pleasure, mate, and you'll be sorely missed.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. You've been great with me in the couple of years in the press box when you didn't have to be. There's been plenty of people in this seat before me. There probably will be after me as well. And it's been great. I've loved covering the club. Some good people at the club, great people in the stands, great people like yourself in the press box as well. It's been a privilege. I know it's not been great on the field for the majority of it. If you want to take I'll take the blame for that. But no, there's been some good moments in there as well. I look back at some of the cup ties, Crystal Palace, Rotherham. I know I was here, not necessarily with the Mail, but I covered the promotion season as well. So there's some good highs there as well. What a game to sign out. I know it wasn't the 3 points, but what a game to sign out on. And I'll be watching from afar, I'll be listening to your coverage, and yeah, I appreciate a lot of the messages that came in as well over the course of the last few days. It does mean a lot, and I'll be keeping an eye from afar, definitely.
Certainly a hell of a game to go out on, Joe, that's for sure. It ends Wealdstone 4, Hartlepool United 4. How's that for your Christmas?
I'm lost for words, and that doesn't happen at all. Ever. Joe, wanted to say a massive thanks from the rest of us as well for all your help over your time with the Mail. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. You too, appreciate it.
Happy days, happy days. I mean, where do you start with John Askey with that, Rob?
Well, I mean, look, there's got to be some serious. I mean, that's a hell of a question as well. I mean, there's got to be some serious questions over that first half an hour, because Pools they lacked any continuity, they lacked any belief, any fight. And I don't say those things lightly. I said it in the commentary in the first half. We're not saying these things lightly. We're not saying them for shock and awe factor or anything like that. And I always say that when we're covering Hartlepool, whether it's me in this seat or whether it's you in this seat, Matty, whoever, we call it as we see it. If it's not good enough, we'll tell you it's not good enough. And if it is good enough, we'll tell you that too. And we'll sing and we'll shout about it. That first half an hour was as bad as I've seen under Askey since he's come to the club. It just lacked all sorts of things. But in saying that, to score 2 goals in 3 minutes right before half time, absolutely give them some confidence and some hope and some belief. But then to go out in that second half and follow that through, even after conceding again and being 4-2 down, so that there is, a lot's been aimed at these players this season about, do they have fight, do they have pride in the shirt, do they have that never say die attitude which this club is known for, and the motto that this club is built on. Then they've absolutely shown that this afternoon in spades. But it doesn't come without its questions. And as much as it will be a good point against a side that's only lost here once this season, you'd think it's got to give them some added belief and confidence going forward now into the other festive fixtures which follow against Oldham on Boxing Day and then on the 30th, because they need to start picking up points. The playoffs look a long way off now, so is it a season of consolidating and building and putting things in place to have a real go next season? In order for that to happen, you have to sort out the off-the-field problems and question marks over this takeover. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? That needs to be cleared up for everybody's sanity in order for this club to move forward. So it's as much as they've got the point, and it was a good performance in the sense of showing that fight and that belief to see it through and to come back against the odds, there's still plenty in which to answer.
Well, Rob, Joe, thank you very much. Brilliant as ever. Merry Christmas to the pair of you.
Merry Christmas, mate.
And
hope you enjoy it.
Back.
And yes, thank you. There is that as well. That'd be my Christmas present, so we can get back home without a diversion.
Before
Please,
midnight.
Santa, if you can make it happen. Yeah.
Nice one. Thanks very much. Rob and Joe there down at Wealdstone. I tell you what, Poolies, pick the bones out of that. Rob will attempt to with John Askey over the next half an hour or so, fingers crossed. We'll try our best to bring you it before 6.